This week on Home Sweet Home, it's all about painting. So no matter the size of the space, what you use it for, old or new, adding a coat of paint is the most cost-effective way to spruce up the place. And not only that, but you can make your space feel so much larger and more cozy. Don't go anywhere. Home Sweet Home will be right back. Marketing manager at Berger Paints Limited. Okay, so tell me, what are some of the products and services that Berger Paints offers?
Anybody in Jamaica, once you think Berger Paints, you think paints. And we offer all the different kind of paints you can think of, but not just the range of paints that we also offer services. We have our color advice service where we help people in terms of determining what color they want for their rooms, what color they want for their projects. We also have an app that we just launched, again, that helps people to be able to identify the different colors. As at Berger, we say we have over 1,800 colors that you can tint paint in. So with the app, it helps you to easily identify that color. Easily, you can take a picture of a flower and it can tell you which Berger color is in the flower.
Perfectly.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when it comes to paints, we have a wide range. We have from our emulsion paints, which is water-based paints. We also have our oil paints. So it depends on really what it is that you're looking for. Berger also have brushes. So, you know, to go with paint, you need the paint brushes.
So it's a one-stop shop. I can get everything done.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the paint, you have the primers, you have the thinner, you have for the industrial, so it's not just for homeowners. It's also have for hotels, for the big industries, for hospitals, for police. We have all different kind of paints needed, all made here in Jamaica.
So if I wanted to paint a room, a little DIY project, what are some of the tools that I would need, other than the paint, of course?
Well, the first thing is, a lot of people don't think about it, but when it comes to painting, you need to make sure that once you determine the color, you need to make sure you get certain things like you need to get tape, so that you can tape off your areas and you have straight lines. You need to get like a drop cloth, so that when you're painting and the paints don't spill and you don't mess up the place, that way when you finish painting, you just take up everything and you move on pretty quickly. You need to make sure you have the right types of brushes. You need to make sure that you have the right roller, you know, your roller trays, and depending if it is oil paint, then you definitely need thinner. I know typically in Jamaica when we come to water-based paint, everybody always throwing water in the paint to make it stretch. But when it comes to Berger paints, you really don't need to thin the paint because the paint comes at the right consistency to give you the coverage.
And then if you add water to the paint, wouldn't it distort the color?
It can affect the color, but also it can affect the kind of coverage that you get. Okay. So the paint may look patchy when it goes on, or it may not give you you may be able to see through parts of it because you've diluted it too much.
So if I find a color paint that I like, example lavender, would I be able to find that exact color in the low sheen, the satin, the emulsion?
Okay. Well, in most of our paints, yes, you can tint. And tinting allows you to be able to get that color in the different types of paints. So in our flat, that's our 303, which is great for like your exterior walls. You can definitely get it in that. And also we can tint it in our Everglow, which is our low sheen. It can be done also in our Royal, which gives you the satin finish, and also in our Weatherproof, and also our 404. So it can be tinted in different range of products. There's a interesting thing to note though, is that based on the sheen level, the shade may look a little bit different because the sheen level is really based on how much light it's reflecting.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, Berger allows tinting, and we have tinting stations all across Jamaica in most hardwares.
One of the paints here, can't remember which one, it offers a 7-year warranty.
Right.
I've never heard of that before. Which paint is that?
Well, Berger actually has 2 paints that offer 7-year warranty. There is our Weatherproof Ultra, which is our exterior paint. So that is a paint, it has anti-algal properties, antifungal. It is formulated to resist peeling and for the color to last. So within that 7 years, you won't have to worry about repainting as regularly as you normally would. And also with our Royal is our interior emulsion. We say it's our interior luxury emulsion because not just it comes with a 7-year warranty, but it also is the lowest odor paint on the market. You know, people nowadays talk about having sinus problems, people are allergic to the smell of paint. With Royal, you can paint and don't have to worry about the smell. You don't have to worry about your children being bothered.
Does Berger Paints offer any environmentally friendly options with the paints?
So lead has been one of those things that people used to think about when it comes to paint as something that's unsafe, but all the Berger paints are free of lead. And all our emulsions are also environmentally friendly. We're constantly keeping up in terms of the global trends to make sure that our formulations meet the requirements locally, of course, but also we have many architects who work from overseas and who specify the paint locally. So we have to make sure that our colors, our paints also meet US and European standards when it comes to environmental.
Now, I heard you speaking about tints earlier. Now, how is a tint or tinting a paint different from a standard paint?
Okay. The tinting versus standard paints, really tinting came around to make paint and getting all the colors you want in paint more convenient for the consumer. Standard paints are those colors that come from the factory made, while the tinted paints we actually prepare here in store. So it'll come from the factory as a base, and in the store we add a different colorants to give it the shade that you want.
So a tinted paint is more a custom paint then?
It allows for customization. But from a quality standpoint, from the wear that you expect to get, from the look that you expect to get, the standards are the same when it comes to how the paint will perform.
So when I'm using the app then, the paints that I would be getting would be a tinted paint, yes, because that would be a more custom job. Yeah,
the Berger Color Scheme Pro app will show you the 1800 range of colors that are available as our tinted range from Berger. Yes. So with Royal, it's great for the interior due to the fact that it not just has the lowest odor in the market, it also has great stain resistance and great scrubbability. What that means is when there's a spill or a child uses a pen or a mark on writes on the wall, you don't need to have to stress and go and get soap and scrub, and when you're scrubbing the color comes off. No, with Royal, little moist cloth, wipes it off, it's just good as new. And also it comes with a 7-year warranty, as you mentioned, so that means it will last. That color will be there for 7 years and even longer.
So the color will be there, but will it be the same color that I bought 7 years ago?
Well, due to light and the amount of exposure to light, there may be some fading in terms of the color, but it's not something that you'll notice.
Okay, it won't be like pitchy-patchy?
No, you won't have that pitchy-patchy issue. You'll just have where the color gradually changes, but you won't even notice it unless you have like a picture frame over it or something, you won't notice it. So
the Royal seems more like a higher end. What's the price difference between the Royal and a 303?
Well, the Royal, yes, is the highest in terms of the interior paint. And we also have an exterior paint which are weatherproof. And in terms of price difference, it's about a 20%, depending on the store, sometimes 25%, but it's mostly around 20% difference. But the key is, instead of having to paint every 2 years or every year, right, okay, you can wait 7. So it's more economical. And we've seen where that message has been catching on with a lot of people, and not just homeowners, but you have many developers who are building apartments who are using Royal on the inside because of that, and hotels love Royal because they don't have to paint that often.
Okay, yeah. So it makes sense, it's value for money.
It's definitely value for money, and it's, I mean, Berger paints, it's developed here, so it's made for the Jamaican environment.
Price-wise, I'm painting a small room. What's the price like?
Well, it really depends on the type of paint that you want. So for inside, people will go for your Royal or your Everglow, and if it's just a gallon that you need, that can carry between like 2,000 to 3,000.
And if I'm using the Royal, do I need to use a primer first, or I just need 2 coats of the Royal?
In most cases, you just need to use 2 coats of the Royal. Okay. A few colors may require a primer.
And depending on what was on the wall before.
And depending, right. So a very important point is that when it comes to painting, Many times people say there are difficulties or after they painted something goes wrong. But the key thing is that more than half of the problems when it comes to painting is the fact that the proper preparation wasn't put in place. So you have to make sure you prepare the surface properly. Surface a freshly done wall, a freshly constructed wall, you need to make sure that you use something like a Berger alkali sealer to seal the wall. Afterwards, you make sure that you apply your primer to make sure the surface is ready for the paint.
Okay.
So
and
that's
then
very
that will
important.
hold the paint.
That will make sure the paint adheres and you get the right color that you're looking for.
Okay. Casey, thank you so much. I think I'm ready to paint my house. Now I know everything I need to know, and I know that I can use Berger paints. Oh, and when I walked in, I saw some stencils.
Yes. We have our Berger Royal wall fashion stencils. Okay. We have 23 different designs, and it's really an easy, quick way to transform your room. So you don't have to go through and do a full paint job. You can just find a room, find a wall, and apply any of our 23 different stencils. And these are plastic, so they are always reusable for different projects.
After the break, we're going to meet up with Alicia Aliang, interior designer with Zandali Designs, and she's going to show us how to pick the perfect color palette for your space. Don't go anywhere. Home Sweet Home, we'll be right back. Alicia? How are you?
Great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thanks for having us. You ready for my chit chat?
Yep.
Thank you. Oh, this is lovely.
Thank you.
I'm here with Alicia Aliang from Zandali Designs, contractor and interior decorator. Now tell me, what does an interior decorator do?
Well, I mean, it ranges from meeting with the client and getting a feel for what they like, what their needs are, what their preferences are, and trying to couple that if they have any build-outs. So you kind of have to match. So it would be tile selection, paint selection, and furniture layout. So it's good to have a plan from the beginning to carry you straight through from when construction starts to when you put the paintings on the wall.
Okay, and then how do you go about selecting the color palette for a house?
Well, it depends. Some clients are very precise and they would say, I like blues. Typically I find people either like blues or greens. I've never really heard of anybody liking both at the same time. Again, you have to feel out the client. If there's a husband and wife team, you have to play referee between the two, who likes it. Some people may like the bling and the sparkle, and then the husband may like very muted, monochromatic, and it's just to try and get them together and to agree on something. So it can be very tricky.
Tell us what the difference a fresh coat of paint can make.
It can make a huge difference in terms of budget as well, your pocket, and the look and feel of the place. So if your room is painted in a dark color and you want to change it up, you get a completely different look with the light colors, and then the way the light reflects on it, it could just change up so much just by buying 1 gallon of paint for your room.
Okay. And how do you choose the paints, the brands, the types for the interior versus the exterior of the house?
Oh, well, for the exterior of the house, it's always good to look for paints that have probably algae resistant. They come with warranties and that kind of thing. So when you make a decision, you could look at what's out there. But Berger has a really good weatherproof paint that I use, and they give a 7-year warranty. And I sell this to all of my clients. I mean, I don't think there's anything better right now.
Okay. And then for the interior, you go with the...
Yeah, I can go. You can go. It depends on your budget as well, I would assume. They're the low sheens. And then there's one of them called Royal. Royal is a satin paint, so it's not as shiny as a low sheen. Right. It's durable if you have kids around or whatever and you want to do an easy clean. I think the Royal is a better bet to go.
And then with the satin, is that the finish that you prefer for the overall look?
Definitely, I like the satin. I mean, between the low sheen and the satin, I like the satin more. I think the low sheen would probably be a little bit more affordable, but the Royal brand for the Berger line, I think that's like the best bet.
When you're painting a wall, what are the different techniques that you can use?
Oh, well, you can go with straight paint. You can paint the whole room in one color, and then you go with little accents in there that will give you little pops. You can go with a focal wall, which would be an accent wall, so you could go with a dark color. You can do things like Venetian plaster, which is when you plaster the wall and then you kind of buff it down and it gives you that kind of texture, look like leather. You can go with sponging, you can go with dry brushing. They have any number. You can go with stenciling, and that's like the new thing now. And I think Berger does they have some stencils, all kind of little patterns that you could put. So if it's a playful room you want for your daughter, you can go with maybe some butterflies. They have a variety of them, and it can change the look of any place. Like a nursery, get it more exciting, you know.
And these are all techniques that you can do?
Do at home, do it yourself.
Okay, and you can do them yourself, okay. And I hear you have something planned for me today?
Yes, I'm going to show you how to do it.
Okay.
Everybody out there can do it themselves.
Yeah, okay. And with the Berger stencils, because I was speaking with Berger earlier, they do have the stencils, and I picked my favorite one.
Right, okay.
So I'm going to go try out my my DIY talents.
Okay, I'm going to get the nails dirty. Well, this is one of my projects. It's a complete refurbishment of an old house. I did some expansions. I made the garage into the kitchen. The patio was converted to the dining room. Put up some drywall partitions. I made it it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. It's now 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Okay. So it's a complete redo. Tiling, electricals, painting, everything.
And now we're going to spruce up one of the bedrooms with some stencils.
You ready to get all dirty?
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay, so you tape up your stencil, and that's basically it.
Well, this is what it is. This is the Berger butterfly kit.
Right.
So it comes just like this, and then if you look on the back of it, they have little ideas on how to do the butterfly. You can just place it randomly wherever you feel like, though. So you get this in the package, and you stick it onto the wall.
And this is reusable. This plastic piece is reusable.
Yes, it is. Okay. It is. And then what you do is that you take your roller. Make sure that you probably should use a felt roller, and then kind of roll it out so it's not too heavy. You come from the corners in, right, very lightly, yeah. So because you don't want any running, yeah.
Are doing good?
Yeah, I could bring you on site. Yep, perfect.
And this is what kind of paint? And this pink paint is what?
This is the Royal SKU at Berger.
Okay. So then I'd have to put more than one coat so I don't have
so you kind of have to wait for this to dry, because inevitably what you don't want is running behind the stencil. Okay. So when you peel this off after the second coat, after it dries, then you get a nice clean butterfly.
Okay. I think I messed up that part.
Yeah, no man, it'll be alright.
Okay, so to place the stencil is pretty easy. It was pretty easy to roll the paint.
Everything is just, you can do it all on your own. Again, this is a different one. The one inside was butterfly. This is a different one. So you just take up a stencil. All right. Decide where you want to put it. You see how the wall is primed. The wall is primed.
Right.
And so the color that you're going to select would be a darker color, right? And then we just tape it on.
And then how long after you paint it should you take the stencil off? Because you need 2 coats, right?
Right. You could just kind of look at it and see how it dries. If it's low sheen, it wouldn't take that long to dry. Maybe like I don't know, 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes it so much easier if you have to keep reusing the stencil.
Yeah, definitely.
15 minutes isn't long at all.
The wall is painted in a silver spray, right? And then this color, it's called Emerald Satin. And then you just give it a nice stir, right? And then make sure you have a drop cloth, because you don't want to mess up your entire house. And you pour a little bit of the paint. This is the Royal, Berger Royal, the brand I was telling you about.
Alright, just a toops.
Yep. And then you put it lightly in there, and you kind of roll it out there so it's not too heavy. Roll off a little more because we don't want it going underneath the stencil. Right, and then we come up here.
Now you're only look better than mine.
But you're going good, you could go a little.
So why can't I use a paintbrush?
This is just how it's recommended, less spillage, less, I guess, wastage, and doesn't go under the stencil as much. Yeah, so this will be your first coat, and you wait a bit, then you put on your second coat, then when that dries, and you take your time and peel it off.
Okay, so we have 2 coats here on our butterfly, and we're good to go. It's dry.
Yeah, it's dry.
I can pull off the stencil?
Yes, you can pull it off. Just pull off the tape. And there you have it.
Ah, beautiful.
Nice little butterfly.
Alicia, thank you so much. But like, other than the stencils, what other DIYs can I do just for like a quick spruce up?
Well, apart from paints and painting your wall, which is the most obvious and cost-efficient one, you have things that you can do, like if you have your kitchen and the cabinets are in good shape, you can sand them down, and you could use any one of Berger stains, the colors, and stain over your cabinets, and you get a brand new kitchen, you know, on a budget.
Yeah.
So you don't have to like rip out a kitchen and go through all that expense, and you know, and it would just cost you a couple gallons and the sanding and some labor. Yeah.
Elisa, thank you so much. It was so great talking with you and getting all of these great tips and advice. Okay. And now I know how to, I'm going to take this one with me, you know?
There you go.
Yeah, because I know how to put on stencils.
Butterflies all over.
All over. Thank you.
Okay.
And that's it for this week's episode of Home Sweet Home, where we saw where a little bit of paint can make a big difference. I'm Jody. See you next week.